You are watching a live feed of Senator Ted Cruz. He is speaking there at the Conservative Convention, otherwise known as CPAC. We are also waiting, as David Asman just mentioned, for Dr. Ben Carson to begin speaking to the crowd. But you can see Ted Cruz very much in his element there, relaxed after last night's big debate. This is Risk and Reward. I'm Deirdre Bolton. The annual Conservative Political Action Conference, that's what CPAC stands for. It is being held right now. You can see it on your screens, National Harbor, Maryland. It is going to take place over the next few days. With me, Katherine Timpf, reporter for the National Review, on the ground there. Democratic strategist Chuck Rocha here as well. So, Kat, you are there. This looks like a very relaxed, happy, in his elements Senator Cruz. Do you agree from the bird's eye view?
Oh, yeah, he's wearing jeans. Everyone's cheering. Everyone's having a great time. And, you know, Trump's not here. I think he's enjoying that, being the complete non-establishment guy here, getting all of that support.
Okay, Chuck, as far as what is going on with the race, we know that Donald Trump chose not to go to CPAC. So to Kat's point, Ted Cruz is getting more speaking time and more oxygen. What is the way forward in your view for these GOP candidates?
Well, look, they're all trying to catch Donald. Up till now, they've been like a bunch of small children just throwing rocks at a train as it goes by. Ain't nothing they can do can stop it. Now, as a political consultant, you got to think about, what does Donald Trump have to gain or lose by dissing the folks at CPAC? I mean, he continues to buck the system. Most people who run in a Republican primary would never dream of skipping CPAC. But Donald Trump has done things all along that I myself, as a political consultant, would have thought would be crazy, self-destructive, and would erupt his entire campaign. But every time he's come out of it bigger and better, and I believe this will just be another instance.
Yeah,
okay, Kat, go ahead.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, I'm not surprised that he's not here. I'd be surprised if he was here, because now people are going to be watching his speeches to see if he says anything about not being here a lot more closely than they would have watched whatever he would have said here. They want to know, what's he going to say? Why isn't he there?
Why isn't he there? That question will loom. We know that he regretted not participating in the debate in Iowa. This is obviously a different format, but he is choosing to be absent, which is, in fact, a strong statement. I want to ask you both what you think of Dr. Ben Carson. We know 2 days ago, and I wrote down the quote exactly, he said he didn't see a path, a political path forward. He's already landed a job as national chair of My Faith Votes. Do you think when he speaks so shortly, we're going to hear that he's stepping out? Kat?
Absolutely. There really isn't a path forward. He has to step out. And you know what? I really like Ben Carson, but there's just no particular reason that he should be president. He has a lot of other things he could be doing and doing well. Really likable guy. Gonna miss him. I missed him in the last debate. But again, really needs to drop out and let those votes go to other places. And I think he has realized that. He must have.
Well, sources are telling Fox News, as we've just been perhaps speculating, that Dr. Ben Carson is expected to say that he is suspending the campaign this afternoon, either in his speech at CPAC or at the press conference, the Q&A session afterwards. So, Chuck, to Kat's point, if Dr. Ben Carson drops out, how does this change the race?
I don't think it changes it immensely. I mean, I think people expected him to run out of vigor and fire eventually. I think that
But who gets his votes, Chuck?
You know, I think that a certain point of those votes go between Cruz and Trump. I think that his followers were more conservative. To the Trump point, I think they were more Christian. But then to the Trump point, believe it or not, they wanted somebody who was an outsider and not a politician. That is Donald Trump, lock, stock, and barrel.
All right, speaking of Donald Trump, earlier today he made a comment on the former presidential candidate, Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney, as you know, was on with Neil Cavuto earlier. Here is Donald Trump's comment on Mitt Romney.
I don't like Romney. I don't like him. He thinks he's hot stuff. And he thinks I hate people that think they're hot stuff and they're nothing. Here's a disloyal guy. See, he's an elitist. See, to me, I don't consider him elite, but, you know, hey, I don't consider him elite because I'm much richer than he is.
Okay, so there's a couple terms to define here. Elitist, the idea of being a conservative, not a true conservative. Kat, did Mitt Romney's speech help or hurt any of the candidates?
I don't think it did any good for what it was intending to do. It helped Trump, perhaps. It certainly didn't hurt him because Mitt Romney represents exactly what people are wanting to rebel against, the establishment guy, not to mention that he lost twice. So why he would be out there criticizing someone else's campaign? I think that almost anybody could have tried to give a speech like that and had it have the impact that they wanted it to have. He was the worst choice to give a speech like that.
Okay, and many people saying, in fact, that he didn't endorse anybody, which left the field and anybody who was listening to him potentially very confused. Chuck, on the point of who is conservative and who is not, why did Donald Trump skip this event?
I think he skipped it so he could say exactly what his followers want to hear. I've been doing campaigns for a long time, and what I would be telling Donald Trump to say is, I'm going out here to have a conversation with the voters. I'm going to go to Kansas, where we're going to have an election in the coming days. And then I'm going to head down to Orlando, a state that is winner take all, that's on March the 16th or 15th, excuse me, and I'm going to need you. Instead of going to Washington, D.C. with all these elite establishment conservative politicians, I'm out here delivering my message to you, the people, my followers. People will love that. They will be part. That's why they're supporting him now. People who are sick and tired of being sick and tired, they want to hear that message, and it has worked for him so far. So why abandon what's been working?
All right, why abandon what's been working? Part of that is a certain amount of vulgarity, to be honest. He responded last night to Marco Rubio's small hands attack. This was during the debate. Listen in.
He hit my hands. Nobody has ever hit my hands. I've never heard of this one. Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it. All right. Okay.
All right, some saying it was like a schoolyard dust-up more than a presidential contest. Kat, your take?
My mouth was hanging open when I heard that. I felt like I was watching two people argue in a frat house instead of a presidential debate. Every time I think that it can't get worse, the discourse can't get lower, something happens to make it even worse. Wow. So, yeah, I mean, it's pathetic. That's not the issues that matter to me. Hand size is not why I'm going to vote or not vote for a candidate.
Not particularly presidential. All right.
Anything. Right.
Stay with me, Kat and Chuck. We just want to reiterate this breaking news. Sources telling Fox News that Ben Carson is expected to say he is suspending his campaign